everyone, and welcome to Frontier Opening Bell. It's Tuesday, the 14th of May. This is how we're getting started. The Nigerian stocks finished off in the negative 0.53% to start Monday. The Ghana stock market finished strongly in the green territory. The BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire eked out just 3 basis points. The Egyptian market turned positive from 3.2% negative on Sunday to start the rest of the week with the rest of African markets in the global marketplace with about 1% in the green territory. That's taking the EGX 30 strongly to 25,381. Then you've got the Nairobi stock market piling 2.38%, a very single day big jump for the NSE at 109.01 as investors digested latest earnings from big names such as Safaricom and, of course, Equity Bank Holdings Group. The investors and analysts appraisal was done yesterday, providing some facts behind the figures for the Pan-African Financial Services Company, as well as the state of the Kenyan economy, as well as other jurisdictions, including DRC, where Equity Bank has its foothold. Dr. Jameson Mwangi was the one who led the briefing yesterday. Of course, we heard from other members of the team. In Johannesburg, the stock market was better by 0.28% at 78,686. Today, we're getting earnings announcement update from MTN Group in South Africa reporting a bumper first quarter 2024. And that's in the news today. Let's move on and check through the big headlines from East African a corridor, the East African community, with Equity Bank overtaking Safaricom as the most valued brand in Kenya, while the insurance companies in that country are paying more claims because of the recent flooding disaster, which claimed at least 200 lives. Now the insurance companies are the ones picking up some of the debris, as it were, financially speaking, for those who have claims to make. East African trades, but more within the African peers than with the European Union. That sounds like a surprising piece of information. But if you look at how closely knit the East African community is, then with the COMESA region, which is the common market for East and Southern Africa, you find that picture is quite real. With Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and others doing more with their continental peers than with the European Union. That's some good news we can use within the new EFCFTA. In the meantime, the Serengeti peers says is re-unveiling a new identity and also launching a new lemon drink. If you're there in Tanzania, just give me a shout out of how that lemon drink actually tastes. I'll look for it whenever I can get it. In the meantime, President Ruto is asking for the replenishment of $25 billion African Development Bank, which sits with the EFDB. I'm sure President Ruto will speak more to that next week when he headlined the opening formalities of the EFDB annual general meeting. Kenya is hosting the annual meetings 2024 of the African Development Bank group, and that is going to be a week-long activity. We're covering that also for you here on Frontier Africa reports. And finally, Ethiopia's inflation down to about 23.3% in April. On a year-on-year basis, that's lower than 37.3% posted in the in the month of April for 2023. Those are your headlines at this time across East Africa. Let's come to West Africa and grab a few headlines for you, with Nigeria's Debt Management Office selling 3 papers of 150 billion naira each. That's totally 450 billion for the month of May. The yield on those reopened papers between 17 and 19%. And the African Energy Chambers Invest in Africa Energy Forum taking place in Paris begins today. The 2-day event is headlined by NG Ayub, the executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber, the leading advocacy organization for removing energy poverty and energy equality for the African continent. He's been supported by a number of top headline speakers. Keep an eye on that as well. The Nigerian Exchange is joining the Ethiopian Stock Exchange, the new securities exchange, ESX, on May the 16th. That's going to be in the next few days, Thursday to be precise, for the new rule book unveiling for the ESX that ESX is doing, and is bringing the NGX on board to bring in its experience as one of the oldest exchanges on the African continent. The NGX was set up as the Nigerian Stock Exchange some 64 years ago. And the new Pan-African Payment Settlement System says it's held its first consultative forum with bank CEOs and other big names within the financial services industry that are all working together to ensure the new Pan-African Payment System, which is headquartered in Accra, Ghana, gets up and running and continue to grow much bigger. And President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana has formally inaugurated the new airport in Kumasi. And that's some of the latest for you here in West Africa. Let's move on. Touchdown in Southern Africa, where MTN Group is reporting its latest numbers for the first quarter of this year. Vodacom reported on Monday. Vodafone will be reporting also today. MTN latest numbers just came in showing a very big jump in some of the key line items for the first quarter of this year, despite the problem with exchange rate and all that from Nigeria's space. We get earnings also from other jurisdictions as well, including the East African. The CIC group also reported overnight. You want to look up those earnings. We'll touch on some of them as we move on here on our show. Zambia interest rate decision will be on the 15th. That's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, while the Angola Central Bank is expected to decide on interest rates on the 17th. That's going to be on Friday. In the meantime, no good news for Zambia as the IMF cut the country's growth forecast for this year, no thanks to the devastating effects of the drought that the country currently faces, and where President Ichilema has declared a state of national emergency and that of natural disaster. Zambia needs all the help that it can get to mitigate the impact of the drought on food security and agriculture within the Southern African economy. Mozambique, however, is chasing Total Energies to resume its operations at the $20 billion natural gas project, which was shut down just a few years ago due to Islamic insurgency near the location of that gas exporter project. And finally, Zimbabwe's goal is to save billions. It's now supporting an aggressive crackdown on those who trade the country's FX illegally. And that's the latest from Southern Africa. Let me walk you through a few headlines in the northern corridor of the continent as we bring everyone together in a single regional integrated markets, economy, business, investments, and finance. Qatar Energy from the Middle East says it's buying equity stake in 2 Egyptian offshore gas blocks. That's one good news for Egypt, the biggest economy north of the continent, while the central bank in Cairo is setting security protocols for those who are doing money transport services. The Bank du Caire, which is listed on the Cairo Stock Exchange, says it's gotten $100 million in funding from the International Finance Corporation, the private sector lending arm of the World Bank. In Morocco, middle class are re-emerging, poverty declining. It's a success story of this big economy, North Africa, and you want to read up how those positive news coming through from King Mohammed VI region. And finally, Suez Canal shipping volume was down to 2/3 in the month of April, and that's according to latest data from the International Monetary Fund. And those are your headlines this Tuesday as we get the new week underway for the second business and market day. I am boosting them. If I have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you back again on Frontier Opening Bell tomorrow, Wednesday.